You know, in the early 80s, there was no one hotter than Billy Squier. So, what happened to him? And did one bad MTV miscalculation really ruin his career? Coming up next on Music Meanderings. I'm Mike Lamneck. This is Music Meanderings. Thanks for joining us today. Massachusetts singer-songwriter Billy Squier. Back in the early 1980s, nobody was hotter. He was just on fire, using the new medium MTV, which, actually still played music. They were still music television back then. He used that to launch some great anthems like The Stroke, Lonely is the Night, My Kind of Lover, In the Dark, Rock Me Tonight, Everybody Wants You, Emotions in Motion, Don't Say You Love Me. Just hit after hit, one after another. No, his music just really seemed to hit the sweet spot for the time. The early 80s, it was fun. People wanted to hear that. They didn't want anything too heavy, too serious. From 1981 to 1984, he had 5 top 10 hits, and 2 of those went all the way to number 1. 2 top 20 singles, 3 consecutive platinum selling albums, and of course all those videos and heavy MTV rotation made his face very recognizable during the first part of the 80s. Just a little background, he was born in Wellesley, Massachusetts, started taking piano lessons at age 8, and then discovered the guitar and took off from there. Formed his first band when he was 14, and other bands followed like Magic Terry and the Universe. I like that name. How about Kicks, and also a band called the Sidewinders. Well, by the mid-1970s, Squier was ready, and he got his first major label contract, and that was through his band called Piper. They went on to release 2 pretty critically acclaimed but not very well selling albums. The self-titled Piper and Can't Wait. In fact, Circus magazine went so far as to call their first album the greatest debut album ever produced by a U.S. rock band. The group was managed by the same management company as Kiss and even opened for them during their 1977 tour, including 2 nights of a sold-out run at New York's Madison Square Garden. Well, after Piper broke up, Squier went on to sign a solo deal with Capitol Records in 1979, started working on his debut solo album, The Tale of the Tape. Spent 3 months on Billboard's album chart, but stalled at position 169. His first singles, You Should Be High Love and The Big Beat, missed the charts, but got some radio play nationally. Then Squier went to Queen guitar player Brian May to see if he'd be interested in producing his next record. Well, Brian May couldn't clear his schedule to do that, but he did have a suggestion, and that was the guy that had just produced their hit record, The Game, Reinhold Mack. So he joined forces with Billy Squier for Don't Say No. That was a great combination in 1981, and of course it remains Squier's best-selling album. The Stroke became his breakthrough hit. You couldn't get away from that on radio in the early 80s. And it hit the top 20 in the U.S., many other countries, followed by In the Dark and My Kind of Lover. The album also includes Lonely is the Night, and I guess I never realized that wasn't ever released as a single, but was just like an AOR album cut. Very popular off the album, though. Don't Say No peaked at number 5. Never quite made it to number 1, but peaked at number 5 on the Billboard 200, was there for 2 years on the chart, eventually sold over 4 million copies in the U.S. alone. So Squier, still on a roll, in 1982 released his album Emotions in Motion. That hit number 5 also in both the U.S. and Canada, sold around 3 million copies. Successful radio and video hits include Emotions in Motion and Everybody Wants You. In fact, I still have those first, well, actually the second and third Billy Squier albums. I don't own the first Billy Squier album, but I have Don't Say No, a copy of that, and also recently picked up a good condition copy of Emotions in Motion as well. So he planned to have Mutt Lange produce his next album. Lang had just gotten off duty with the Cars and producing their album, so he wasn't able to do it. So he went to Jim Steinman. Now, you might recognize that name, Jim Steinman, the brain behind Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell, the lyricist and, of course, orchestrator, kind of really the mastermind behind that project. So Jim Steinman joined up with Billy Squier for his next album, and it was called Signs of Life. Came out in July 1984. And again, it had a couple big hits. Rock Me Tonight, All Night Long, and it got platinum certification again, his third album in a row to go platinum. But that's where the trouble started, because that video for Rock Me Tonight hit heavy rotation on MTV, and it showed Billy Squier in a, let's say, different light. Dancing around in a bedroom, sprawling around in a pink tank top. Now, whether it was actually the video or the shift in music style or any other number of factors that led to his downfall, Squier to this date still blames that video for him falling off the charts and his concerts not selling out anymore. And at the time, he was quick to blame the video producer for duping him into thinking that the whole video concept was a good idea and would look fine. Honestly, I look at that video today, and with what's out there, it's very mild in comparison. I'm not so sure that that video had everything to do with his career downfall. Music was just changing at the time. This next album, the very ironically titled Enough is Enough, was a commercial flop. And Squier spent the next 3 years working on his sixth full-length project, which was called Here, H-E-A-R, Here and Now. That came out in 1989, sold 300,000 copies, which, you know, is not bad, but when you're used to going platinum, falls really short of the mark. Creatures of Habit followed in 1991. And if you haven't heard of that one, you're not alone. I wasn't familiar with that one either. It got zero push from the record label. By that time, most of his fans and really music in general had moved on. So in 1993, he released his final Capitol Records album called Tell the Truth. So what's he been up to since then? He's stayed busy, really, with a variety of different projects, plays, soundtracks. He wrote the original screenplay Run to Daylight, which was seen at the Sundance Film Festival, but never produced. And in 1998, he independently released his last studio album to date. It was a stripped-down acoustic blues album called Happy Blue. Not too bad. I remember listening to that one when it came out. In 2001, he marked the 20th anniversary of Don't Say No with a large concert tour that was pretty well received. And throughout the 2000s, Billy Squier's made several special appearances at events. In 2023, even released a new single called Harder on a Woman. So that's the story behind Billy Squier. What do you think? Was it all to do with that one video, or had music just moved on? No matter what happened, still had a pretty good career and still out there from time to time, Billy Squier. Please leave your comment below, and thanks for watching Music Meanderings.